Hey everybody, welcome to the Dice Age. Today we're going to be playing Star Realms with me, Gianfranco, and Christopher. Okay, so first we're going to go through a tutorial of how to play the game, and then if you follow the link below, we'll go through an actual playthrough. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over the setup. When you set up the game, you're going to have different types of cards. You're going to have authority cards, which we have set up here and here. These are my authority cards, and these are Christopher's authority cards. At the start of the game, you want to give yourself 50 authority, a 20, 2 tens, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 singles. Additionally, you're going to have a starting deck. So Star Realms is a deck building game. It's very similar to other deck building games like Hero Realms, or if you're familiar with Dominion or Clank. You're going to start off with 10 cards. In your 10 cards, you're going to have 2 Vipers. These are the type of ships, and they have 2 attacking points, 1 each. And you're going to have 8 scouts, which have 1 buying power each. You're also going to set up your Explorer deck, which is all the same exact card. And that's going to be available at the marketplace. And then what you're going to do is you're going to draw 5 cards from the deck and place them in front of you to play. Okay. So the way gameplay works is you're going to shuffle your starting 10 cards, and you're going to draw 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On the first turn, the first player would only draw 3. You'll then look at your cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I have 4 buying power and 1 attack. What this will let me do is I can now buy from the marketplace a card or multiple cards that cost up to 4. So the cost is in the top right corner of each card. So this is 4, 1, 7, 2, and 3. Okay? So what I would do is I can buy this one, and it would go into my discard. That has a cost of 1. I now have a buying power of 3. A new card would become available, and I will buy this card. And a new card becomes available. I've now exhausted all of my buying power, and I do 1 damage to Christopher. So he removes 1 authority, and I take all of my cards, and I put them in my discard pile face up to the right. I would then draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more cards in my hand, and it would be Christopher's turn. He would do the same thing. He would draw 5, and then he would buy cards from the marketplace, which he's doing right now, and do damage to me. So in his turn, he drew 5 cards that are just scouts, which means he has a buying power of 5, so he can buy cards from the marketplace.
I'll buy the space station for 4.
A new card gets revealed, and he has a power of 1, and he can't buy anything else because he has no more buying power, and that's his turn. Play continues on like this. It's my turn again. I have the same hand again, 4 buying power and 1 attack. So I do my 1 attack to Christopher. I would then buy something for up to 4. Everything else here is over 4, so I can only buy this. A new card is revealed. I've spent 2. I have 2 buying power left. There's nothing available except for the Explorer. You always have the option to buy an Explorer. The Explorer costs 2, and it'll give you 2 buying power. Now, I put my cards into my discard pile, and I have nothing to draw from. So, what I do is I take my discard pile, I shuffle it up, and I draw a new 5. At the start of the game, I had 10 cards. I just bought 3 more cards. My deck now has 13 cards in it. As you continue to play, you'll buy more cards, and this is why it's called a deck building game. You're building a better deck of cards. I now have 13 cards, and here we see I have one of the cards I've bought. It is a better card. Every card in the marketplace is going to be better than the cards that you start off with, the starting 10 cards. So now I'll go over the different types of cards that you can buy. There are ships that you can buy, and we'll see here. These are ships. They are vertical, and then there are bases. So I'll go over bases. These two are bases. These are two different types of bases. This is an outpost and this is a regular base. The difference is an outpost says outpost and a regular base just has no text on it. This has a black shield on while this has a white shield. So the difference between a base and a ship is that when you play a base, it stays in front of you until your opponent destroys it, opposed to the other cards which go into your discard pile. When Christopher goes, he's going to do damage to me with his attacking cards. My base will block any of the damage from my total authority pool. When you have an outpost, in order for Christopher to do damage on my authority, he must first destroy my outpost. My outpost has a strength of 6, so he must do 6 damage, which would then destroy it and put it in my discard pile, and then he can do damage to my authority. A regular base that has a white shield does not have to be destroyed before Christopher can do damage to my authority. If he only does 5 damage, he can bypass my central office and do the 5 damage directly to my authority pool. Opposed to Brain World, where if he had only 5 damage, he wouldn't be able to do anything because the outpost has a blocking power of 6. I would receive no damage in that scenario. The other types of cards are ships. Ships are played and then discarded. There are different types of factions in the game. There are 4 factions. We have the blue faction here, which is the Trade Federation. We have the green faction here, which is the Blobs. We have the red faction here, which is the Machine Cult faction. And we have the yellow faction here, which is the Star Empire faction. The different factions work together, so the strategy in the game is you want to try to develop a deck that has similar cards of the same faction. The way this works is when you look at a ship, they have a regular ability. So this flagship would do 5 damage and you would be able to draw a card. You would do whatever the symbol says plus the text on it. Where this one, the Trade Escort, you would get 4 damage and 4 authority. This is the symbol for authority. This is your pool, your health. So you would get 4 health back. Additionally, you have these symbols here. And what this is saying, if you play 2 or more cards from your hand with the same faction, you would be able to take the secondary attack. So when you play the flagship and the Trade Escort together, you would get 5 damage and 5 authority based off of this card. You would get 4 damage and 4 authority, and both cards will let you draw a card. This goes the same for bases. If you have a base in play in front of you and you play a card with a matching faction, you're able to use the secondary action on both the ships and on the base. There are also cards in the deck, such as this Brain World, which lets you scrap a card from your hand. This actually lets you scrap 2 cards from your hand and or discard pile. So there's 2 different ways that you can get rid of cards in your hand. You can discard them or you can scrap them. Scrapping them allows you to take cards out of play completely. You don't have them in the game anymore. Where discarding a card just lets you put a card into your discard pile. Scrapping a card is beneficial because as your deck gets more and more powerful, you want to get rid of some of your starter cards that aren't going to be as helpful later on in the game. So scrapping them is a good way to get them out of the game and give you a leaner deck so that the cards that you purchase from the marketplace show up more frequently during play. The symbol for scrapping a card, if it doesn't say so in the text, is this little garbage can. When you play this card, you would be able to use its 2 buying power, and then if you scrap it, you would use it to get 2 attack. So you could scrap it, remove it from your hand, and do 2 damage to your opponent. And that's pretty much everything you need to know to play Star Realms. We're going to be doing a playthrough. You can watch the video below, and you'll get a better idea of how the game flows. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Let me use the bathroom real quick.
Okay.
Thanks for watching.